Hi, welcome back. And today we're going to get into chapter 13, which is the subjunctive mood. And if you remember way back with our parsing, the word mood tells us how something is said. In chapters 1 all the way through 10, we were dealing with the indicative mood, which are statements of fact. Now we get into subjunctive mood, which is called the mood of probability or contingency. And the good news with this chapter is that the endings are very, very similar to endings that we already know. So the probability mood, you'll see off to the left there is lose subjunct. It is the mood of contingency, indicated and prefaced by words such as may, might, ever, should, ever. And it's normally going to follow words such as hina, that means in order that, and aeon, that means if. So let's take a look here at these red flag words. These are words saying a subjunctive is coming down the road. So let's pronounce these together. Hina, that means in order that. Hapos also means in order that, and there's no distinction between the two. Aeon means if, and this is a combination of the if that you've already had with on. So aeon, if. It says the subjunctive is coming down the road. Now we have on, that means would or ever, but it's not really translated by itself or separately. Now, has aeon, has there is a relative pronoun. We'll see this in chapter 17, and it means who. So if you combine has with aeon or has with on, this means whoever. Now, right underneath it, you have the neuter singular relative pronoun, and that can be combined with ha aeon or ha on, whatever thing. And we put the word thing in there because it's neuter. All right, some more red flag words. Up at the top, we have the neuter plural relative pronoun. That combines with aeon or on, and it means whatever things. This is plural, so we say things. You've had the word hate, that means when, and you combine that with on, you have hatan. This means whenever. Hapu, where, and you combine that with aeon, wherever. Now underneath that you see two negatives, u and may, not. Now when these are combined with an aorist subjunctive, this is a very strong negation, generally translated as by no means. And heos on means until. So those are red flag words saying to us as readers, translators of the Greek New Testament, a subjunctive is coming. Now, let's take a look at the forms. Present subjunctive of Amy. Let's pronounce these together. O, ace, a, omen, eta, osi, or osin. Now, you'll notice here that the endings are almost phonetically identical with endings that we already had. And these go way back to chapter 1. Remember the oasis with the omelet oozing. The subjunctive possesses all long vowels. So you'll see the omega plus the eta. O, ace, a, omen, eta, osi. So here's our picture. Amy with a present in hand near the subjunctive. So present subjunctive of Amy. And you'll see the oasis there with an omelet oozing. Those are the endings. O, ace, a, omen, eta, osi. And you'll see the oasis and the oozing omelet are all elongated. And that's to remind us of the long vowels eta, and omega. Now, for all of the subjunctive forms, we have the elongated oasis with the omelet oozing. That's what we just looked at. And steering the subjunct is none other than the elongated amethyst. So the middle passive endings are all going to have the omai endings that we had back in chapter 4, but they're going to have the elongated vowels, eta and omega. Now, before we look at the actual forms, here are the keys. If you see a stem ending, that tells us present. So we have luo. And this would be prefaced by one of those red flag words. So hina, luo, in order that luo I might lose. If we see a stem suffix ending, this is going to be a first aorist. So hina, luso would be in order that I might lose. If we see a stem ending plus the theta, do you see that? This is the aorist passive subjunctive. So hina, lutho, there's the theta, in order that I might be loosed. If we see a stem with an internal change plus that same ending, this is going to be the second aorist active subjunctive. So aeon if, with balo, if I should throw. So when we get into the aorist subjunctives, there's no more augment. Augments only occur in the indicative mood. So here's the present active subjunctive of luo. Luo, lues, lue, luomen, lueta, luosi, or luosin. These are the same endings that we had for Amy, and phonetically are almost identical with what we had in chapter 1. Here's the first aorist active subjunctive of luo. So let's pronounce these. Luso, luces, luce, lusomen, luceta, lusosi, or lusosin. Now, what's the difference in translation between the present subjunctive and the aorist subjunctive? It has to do with the type of action. So if you had hina luso, this would be a point action. That's the meaning of the aorist. Point or punctiliar. If you had hina luo, the present subjunctive there would have the sense of ongoing or continuous action. Here's the second aorist active subjunctive of balo. Let's pronounce these. Balo, bales, bale, balomen, baleta, balosi, or balosin. The same endings. What's the difference? The internal change with bal, 1 lambda. So again, the aorist subjunctive refers to point action. Here's the first aorist passive subjunctive of luo. Let's pronounce. Lutho, luthes, luthe, luthomen, lutheta, luthose. All right, what do we see here? We see the stem, the theta, and then those elongated endings. O, ace, a, omen, eta, osi, or osin. So the translation of hina lutho, in order that I might be loosed. And that it refers to point action. That's the meaning of the aorist. Now, notice the endings here for the present middle passive subjunctive of luo, as well as the first aorist middle, second aorist middle. You have lu omai, lu a, lu etai, lu omitha, lu esta, lu ontai. And look at how it carries through with the first aorist middle as well as the second aorist middle. What do we see here? We see the elongated amethyst endings. Remember them? Omai, a, etai, amitha, esta, antai. So here we have elongated endings with the eta and the omega. But phonetically, they're almost the same as the endings we saw way back in chapter 4. All right, here's what I mentioned earlier. The aorist subjunctive points to point action, while the present subjunctive points to continuous action. So in John 10:10, ha kleptes, the thief. You've heard of a kleptomaniac, haven't you? And then we have uk erchatai, does not come, a may, if not or unless. Now here we have the red flag word, ina, klepse. This is related to the noun kleptes. Klepto means I steal. So klepse is an aorist active subjunctive third person singular, in order that he might steal, point action. Kai thuse, the verb is thuo, I kill. This is an aorist active subjunctive third person singular. Notice the ending there. And we have kai apalese. This is also an aorist active subjunctive third singular. So we have three in order clauses here: steal, kill, and destroy. All of these are aorists that refer to point action. And then we have Jesus' statement, ego eothon. The ego there is emphatic. I, underline, came, and then hina here in order. Now here we have our subjunctive, echosin, from echo. Present active subjunctive, third person plural. In order that they might have, meaning continue to have, life. And then we have another subjunctive here that repeats the first. They might have, and then parison, abundantly. So that they might continue to have life abundantly. So here we have a contrast between the thief and Jesus as the good shepherd. The thief comes, point action, for these three purposes: steal, kill, destroy, point action. While the coming of Jesus means the giving and having of eternal life on a continual basis. All right, now it's time for practice. I'll hit my pause button, and you do your work, and we'll come back and compare notes. Welcome back. I hope you feel a degree of success. All right, number one, hina sozo tan kosman, in order that I might save the world. Sozo, present active subjunctive, first singular. Number two, if I should glorify or might glorify myself. Doxaso, first aorist active subjunctive, first person singular. First person singular, and it's aorist, point action. Number three, in order that we might or should be baptized. That's an aorist passive subjunctive, first person plural. Number four, if you should teach the sisters. Didasketa, present active subjunctive, second person plural. Number five, if we should preach or announce the good news to you, or if we should evangelize you. Now the parsing there is a first aorist deponent subjunctive. Euangelizomai deponent. First person plural. Number six, hina grapses, first aorist active subjunctive, second person singular. And notice here the hidden sigma from grapho. And number seven, if they should enter. All right, here we have the internal change, second aorist. So second aorist active subjunctive, third person plural, if they should enter. And number 8, take a look here. We see the theta, don't we? So that tells us aorist passive subjunctive. So in order that they might be saved. That's a first aorist passive subjunctive, third person plural. Well, I trust you feel a degree of success, and I'm hoping this has been helpful to you. Thanks.